The terms of the lease say that as long as Prince Andrew maintains the upkeep of the property and the repairs and the renovations, then he is within the terms of the lease, and therefore it is very difficult to remove him or for him to move.
Behind the pristine facade of Royal Lodge, life for those serving Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson was anything but royal. Former aides are now pulling back the curtain, revealing a household ruled by tension, rigid routines and bursts of fury. What once looked like grace and glamour from the outside was, in truth, a domain obsessed with order and control. And now, with Andrew stripped of his titles, his honours revoked, and his residence under scrutiny, these insider accounts carry even more weight. They paint a vivid picture of a household governed by ego and fear, where the Duke's temper ruled the day. Staff recall Andrew as irritable, demanding and shockingly rude. One ex-palace maid remembered how, unlike the other royals who carried a quiet dignity, Andrew's behaviour reeked of impatience and privilege. There, she said, even the smallest misstep, like a curtain pulled an inch too far or a breakfast tray slightly out of line, could ignite a storm of anger that left everyone walking on eggshells.
Response.
Prince Andrew is being stripped of his prince title. But why now? Buckingham Palace said the king has today initiated a formal process, and his younger brother will now be known as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. He gave up his other titles earlier this month, including the Duke of York, after facing questions about his private...
One former aide recalled Andrew as volatile to the core, saying you could hear his voice echoing down the corridor long before he appeared. Even his protection officers reportedly saw it. The arrogance, the unpredictability, and that infamous temper that could erupt over the tiniest mistake. Inside a world built on royal protocol, Andrew seemed to live by his own rules, and his were far more severe. Among the strangest details shared by staff was his fixation on a vast collection of teddy bears. Yes, teddy bears. Dozens of them, around 72, each one dressed in tiny naval uniforms and sailor outfits. Every morning, palace attendants had to line them up perfectly on his bed, arranged from largest to smallest in flawless symmetry. One misplaced toy could mean a scolding, a slammed door, or worse, a full royal outburst.
Yeah, so Tom Quinn's released this really kind of humorous book in a way, talking about, the lives of the staff at the palaces. What is it really like being, a maid or a butler to a member of the royal family? And unsurprisingly, some of the kind of craziest stuff in there was about the staff who work for the Duke of York.
It didn't stop there. New hires were reportedly given special bear training, a bizarre initiation where they learned the exact arrangement of Andrew's stuffed army. On his bedside table sat a laminated chart, a detailed diagram showing the precise position of every single bear. One former guard who caught a glimpse of it said it looked more like a military map than a bedroom guide. Each night, the toys were to be removed and redistributed across the room in a pre-approved formation, including a small regiment stacked neatly inside the unused fireplace. To outsiders, it sounds laughable, almost unreal. But inside Royal Lodge, it was law. Every detail of Andrew's environment had to meet his exacting standards. Staff said life under his roof felt more like serving in a barracks than working in a home. There were rules for everything, how his shirts were folded, how his breakfast tray was placed, even how his shoes faced on the floor. One insider remembered how he would humiliate staff for the smallest mistake and dismiss anyone who dared talk back. You were there to serve, they said, not to speak.
There were some really funny things in there. We've known this before, that he is obsessed with teddy bears. He has 40 teddy bears that have to be assembled and arranged perfectly. Staff are given a chart to arrange Prince Andrew's teddy bears on his bed every day.
Even senior royal aides privately admitted that his temper was well known inside the palace and that many staff would rather work for anyone else. Dottown at Royal Lodge, the tension was constant. Workers described a heaviness in the air, with everyone watching their words, waiting for his mood to turn. One former member of staff said it best you never knew which version of him you were going to get. Polite one minute, shouting the next, while Andrew's behaviour dominated headlines. Staff also had opinions about Sarah Ferguson's role behind the scenes during her early years in the royal fold. She was seen as friendly and energetic, often engaging with staff in a casual and approachable way. But as her marriage unravelled and public scrutiny grew, insiders say her temperament changed. Well,
the king has been keen that he should move for a considerable time. But the problem is, how do you actually persuade him to move? And quite honestly, in the last week, I think people's views.
Former staff described Sarah Ferguson as warm yet tightly wound, a woman whose mood could shift as quickly as the headlines surrounding her. Under pressure, they said, she could be fiery, even confrontational. One report claimed she once left a staff member in tears after a sharp argument over something trivial. Insiders from that period painted a divided picture. Some adored her charm and humour, while others found her unpredictable and exhausting to work under. Unlike Princess Diana, who was known for her calm and grace, Sarah was more impulsive, quick to laugh, but just as quick to snap when things went wrong. Still, those who've worked with her in more recent years say she often stepped in to soften Andrew's temper, playing the unexpected role of peacemaker whenever the Duke's anger threatened to explode.
This is why one of the reasons the Queen loved you so much and you were so special to her. What did she mean to you?
Oh, she just, I think I was just myself with her, and I was allowed to be myself with her, which is such a joy.
Insiders say Sarah knew this storm was coming, but that didn't make it easier. She's quietly heartbroken, one source said. Royal Lodge had been her refuge, her last tangible link to royal life. Now, for the first time in nearly 20 years, she and Andrew will live apart. He heading to Norfolk, far from Windsor, while she searches for somewhere new to call home. The accounts from former staff reveal what the public never saw. A household built on control, where privilege and ego outweighed kindness and respect. For years, Andrew and Sarah tried to sell the image of the perfect divorced couple, united and unbothered. But that illusion has finally shattered.
I mean, did you take the money? At one stage you had $40,000 cash sitting in front of you. Did you take it?
Absolutely, yes. And it was given to me, and I got it in the car and then returned it straight away.
Once the scandal broke?
As soon as I knew it was a scandal, not once it broke, Michael.
Andrew has lost his titles, his dignity, and the protection of the royal name that once shielded him. Sarah faces her own reckoning, stripped of privilege, financial comfort, and the walls that once defined her world. What remains are the whispers from those who served them. Tales of long days, rigid routines, and tempers that ruled the house. Together they paint a picture of decline, not just of a home, but of a dynasty losing its grip. Andrew's downfall, in the end, wasn't just about scandal. It was the natural collapse of arrogance and excess. And Sarah's next move may determine whether she reinvents herself outside the palace system or fades quietly from public life. As for their daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, sources say they've stepped away entirely from the chaos surrounding their parents. Both have reportedly left the UK with their young families, Eugenie spending extended time in Portugal, where her husband Jack Brooksbank works in luxury real estate, and Beatrice dividing her days between Europe and the United States. Those close to them say the sisters are shaken, determined to protect their peace from the wreckage of their parents' mistakes. The House of York, once united by name and legacy, now stands fractured, each member scattered, each coping in silence as the fallout deepens. What happens next could redefine their place within the royal circle forever. Let me know what you think below. And stay tuned for more as the unravelling of the former Duke and Duchess of York continues to expose what life inside Royal Lodge was truly like.